What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for a predicted lineup, and not just any predicted lineup. This is the North London derby, people, and we're going to get into that in just a minute. But quickly, let's go over to our sponsors, Stocks FC. So big up to them who give you the chance to have your stocks in your favourite players. We've already got multiple stocks in various players, obviously very Tottenham heavy with Kulusevski, Maddison, Solanke, Son, Van de Ven. But we've also got Kevin Sade and Mohamed Salah.
Some profits in Maddison, Salah and Kulusevski at the moment.
Profits. We're actually seeing profits in all of our players so far, apart from Solanke, Son and Van de Ven, which I'm backing Solanke and Son to have big second halves of the season, so I'm expecting profits there. And Mickey Van de Ven, with him returning from injury very soon, I'm expecting that stock to boost up as well. But with the loan players that we have in Jeremy Doku and Elijah Adebayo, we've got two loan players. But if you use our link, which is in the description below, and QR code will be on screen in a minute, you'll be able to get 5 free loan players. So what that means is you get a player for a month, and all the profits that those players make, you get to keep at the end of that month. So yeah, get in there, use our link, and get involved in Stocks FC, where it gives you the chance to have stocks in players. But we've been scouring the market to see some good value, haven't we, Sim?
We have.
And what have we found? We found one player that you looked at, which was Mohamed Kudus.
Yeah, I think Kudus, given that he's now got an attacking manager in Graham Potter, he's a slight decline on minus 6%. But I think he's set to go on a rise. If Kudus can really explode under Graham Potter, score some goals, he's at $1.64, and I think he could be a good one to invest our stocks in. I'm getting my stocks in Mohamed Kudus.
You're getting your stocks in Kudus. Another player, we'll go for 2 more players, but the one is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. With Moyes just returning to Everton, his stocks are fairly low, and the supply is also fairly low on Calvert-Lewin. And Moyes has already been speaking about Calvert-Lewin, how he thinks he could be the man to spearhead Everton from now to the end of the season. I think he could be a good one.
Could be set for a scoring streak. He has been on a slight decline, but once he scores some goals, he's on a bit of a goal drought.
And also you get rewards as well. You get rewards for performance-based, performance-related. And also you've got another player who I've been looking at is Raul Jimenez. Had a fairly strong season so far. His stocks are fairly low, and he's got a fairly small supply. You can see that he has been having a slight dip there, maybe because he's been in and out of the team recently. But I feel like he could get a few goals in coming weeks.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Well, there you have it. We'll get yourselves into Stocks FC, link in the community in the description below, and also on the QR code on screen. But let's get on to that predicted lineup. Arsenal against Tottenham at the Emirates, 8 o'clock kickoff tomorrow night. In terms of the injury news, what have we got?
Yeah, so we know that Van de Ven, Romero, Odegaard, Vicario, Udogie, all still long-term absentees. He also confirmed that Timo Werner has picked up an injury, a hamstring injury, going into this game, and the severity is yet to be known, so we'll have to wait and see. It could be the precursor to a move, potentially, or he could genuinely be injured, and it could be just another muscle injury in the squad, but he's not going to be an option. Bentancur, obviously, following the concussion protocols, will miss out on this one. Hopefully, he'll be back in time for next week's game against Hoffenheim, so he remains out. But in better news, Richarlison is available, and Ben Davis is back in training, so he might make the squad as well. But more importantly, Richarlison will definitely be available for selection in this one. So that's really good timing, especially with the kind of fixture that is upon us, and I think he's kind of perfect for it. So yeah, really excited to see him back in the team.
Yeah, and with Richarlison back and Ben Davis back, all of a sudden, in a few weeks' time, Romero, Van de Ven, and Bentancur will all be back as well.
Well, by the end of Jan, it's going to be probably just Vicario and Udogie left, right? I know Odegaard. So
Touch wood.
Vicario, Odegaard, and Udogie by the end of Jan, hopefully. So we'll have a couple back by the end.
So it's starting to look like an actual squad again.
Yeah, I know. All of a sudden.
But let's get into it. In goal, in a 4-3-3, is obviously going to be Kinski. He's done brilliantly in his first 2 games, but this is going to be a real test up against Arsenal's set pieces.
Definitely, and he had a kind of, I mean, it's obviously not the same level, but he had a kind of little taste of getting the ball pumped into the box against Tamworth, and he dealt with it very well. Obviously, he's going to be taken up a notch here against Arsenal. We saw, albeit I think their corners last couple games haven't been as effective. I don't know if teams are starting to kind of work out a bit. I've seen a few teams do this tactic where they leave 3 men up the pitch to kind of declog the penalty area, which gives a lot more space for defenders instead of being pushed around a lot. They've got a bit more space to kind of stand their ground. Whereas I felt like when the penalty area is clogged up, you know, everyone's all bunched together and you don't know what's going on. There's like a melee and Arsenal take advantage of it. So I'll be interested to see how Tottenham deal with those. Will Kinski be brave? That will definitely be a big kind of that'll go a long way to decide if we can get a result. We can keep.
We know for one thing he will be brave.
So he's got a big job on his hands. I'm sure he's going to be busy, whether it's from set pieces or in general play. But as well, I do think his ball out the back, his play possession will go a long way as well to make sure that we're not being pressed as harshly as we have been at the Emirates in previous years.
Yeah, absolutely. So Kinski in goal. Right back, we're going to be looking to Pedro Porro. Obviously, Porro has, again, played on the weekend against Tamworth. A bit of a poor performance from him. And, yeah, we're going to need better levels from him at the weekend, tomorrow night.
Up against probably Martinelli, who's obviously a speedster, but not in the best form. Albeit in recent weeks, he's been a bit better. Porro needs to be on his A game to make sure that he's not getting any sort of advantage, because with Saka out, you know, you look at their front line and probably he's now the danger man, you'd have to say, in that front line at the moment. So
who do you reckon it's going to be? It's going to be probably Trossard,
Martinelli, or maybe Trossard.
Trossard, Havertz and Martinelli.
I reckon Sterling might start.
Or Sterling.
Sterling on the right, I think. He came off the bench. So it could be either Trossard or Martinelli, either way. Who do you reckon you'd rather face?
I think Trossard's playing really poorly at the moment. So I think Martinelli is not exactly blowing anyone away. But, yeah, I feel it will be Martinelli. I think Martinelli will start.
Martinelli. I think he will as well. So, yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if you do see Martinelli on the right and Trossard on the left.
I was thinking if Davis was fit, was there a possibility you could see Davis at centre-back and Gray moved over to right-back? But I think with Davis not making it, I think, or maybe just being on the bench, I think, you know, this is obviously going to be the case.
So centre-backs, I do think it's going to be the same back two in Radu Dragusin and Archie Gray. Ben Davis will be back in the squad, but I think this game will just come a bit too soon. Maybe you're thinking Ben Davis in line to start the next game. Who is our next game? Everton, yeah. Maybe for him to start at Goodison Park. But I think for tomorrow night's sake, it will be Dragusin and Gray. Yeah,
and to be fair to them, I think they've been a lot better over the last few games. So less worried than I would have been after definitely that Liverpool 6-3 when they both of them all over the place. Ange has said actually in the press conference pre the Liverpool Carabao game that, you know, they did a lot of analysing after that game on what about the centre backs, and they really adjusted a few things and really worked out what they did well and what they weren't doing well and what they need to change, and that seems to have really got the really created a better dynamic between those two. So less worried about it, albeit Kai Havertz not in the best form, but he's still a very physical threat. He's still a person who, you know, you get the ball to him into feet or into his air, and he'll fancy himself against Gray and Dragusin in that front. So they have still got a job on to keep him quiet, because even in recent games he hasn't been good, but he's still getting chances, isn't he? And if he gets those same chances, I wouldn't be surprised if he puts one of those away against us. So got to make sure you're on the game. But as well, it'll be a very big challenge for Gray, because I know he's been playing big games, but I'm trying to think of like a real tough game away from home, like on this level that he's had. He's probably not. So this is obviously another level for him, another big test away from home against Arsenal.
I would say, like, in terms of intense atmosphere, he obviously started that Galatasaray game.
I'm saying a centre-back.
Centre-back, yeah. I can't really think of one. But yeah, I mean, this is his biggest test for sure, Archie Gray, in terms of an away performance. And you're going into the Lions Den, aren't you? Talking about a North London derby away. So that's going to be the centre-back pairing at left.
But the clean sheet against Liverpool will give him loads of confidence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go into this game and think, you know, depleted Arsenal front line, if I can keep a clean sheet against Salah and Jota and Gakpo or whoever it was, I can do it against Havertz and these lot. Yeah,
I totally agree with that. And at left back, we will be looking at Jed Spence, pretty much our only option, and he's been brilliant of recent weeks.
Yeah, in a weird way though, he done brilliantly against Mo Salah. But there's a part of me who's like, if he is up against Sterling, I saw how he struggled against Jacob Murphy, and Murphy's going to probably play in a similar vein to how Sterling's going to play, in terms of he's going to go down the line, he's going to be a right foot on his right side, and obviously with Jed Spence playing on his wrong side, could he be catching him flat-footed? Like, if in a weird way, if it was, I'm not saying I'd be less worried if it was Saka, but in a weird way, Saka playing on the cutting inside probably suits Jed Spence on this side a bit more than someone going on the outside. Obviously, I do think Sterling's probably easier to deal with in general. But I am slightly worried just from the fact that I saw the struggles he had against Murphy, and if they do play Sterling rather than Trossard, is that something that Sterling's going to notice? I hope not. But Spence has been great, and I'm confident he can have a good game.
So that is the back four: Pedro Porro, Dragoshin, Gray, and Spence. Moving into the midfield positions, which is a topic for debate, I guess, because we know Bentancur's out. So you're talking about the six, where you've got an option of, I guess, either Basuma or Bergvall, I guess, for the six. And Basuma had a great performance at Tamworth. It was just Tamworth. Bergvall has been brilliant in whatever position he's played in recent weeks as well. But I do think he's going to side with Basuma for the six.
I think he has to. I think we need some experience in there. We need Basuma in there. I think we need kind of an older player to make sure that we're not getting bullied in that central area. So I think Basuma had a great game in the Emirates last year. Actually, to be fair to Basuma, recent weeks he's been pretty good. I think he deserves the credit. I thought Liverpool, he was great. Obviously Tamworth is Tamworth, but he was good. And I think the game before Liverpool, Newcastle, he came on, was pretty good, I thought, against Newcastle. So I think he's been pretty good in recent weeks. So I think he deserves a start.
Yeah, I think it's been like 3 good performances that had followed on like 3 poor performances. So right now he is in a rich reign of form.
Yeah, so I think he deserves. I think we need him, and he deserves a start in this one.
The other midfield positions, I think in the other 8, it's basically a toss-up between Bergvall and Sarr. Now, I think you've got to go with the player on form, because Sarr's just not in form at the moment. And Lucas Bergvall is a man that is exceeding expectations. You look at that, how he played against Liverpool in the Cup a couple of weeks ago, and every game he comes on, every game he starts, he's doing himself a real service. So I think he's on the start, and I think he should go for him.
I would go with Bergvall as well. I wonder if he didn't start on the weekend because he was thinking about starting him on this game. And also the main reason I would start him is because he played well against the Newcastle midfield of Joel Linton, Guimaraes and Tonali. He played unbelievably man of the match against the midfield of McAllister, Curtis Jones and Gravenberg, who have been, especially Gravenberg, one of the best midfielders in the league this season. So there's no reason why he can't believe he can have a good game again against this Arsenal midfield. He's basically competed against the best midfields in the league in the last 2 games and done really well. Yeah. So there's no real reason why we can't have belief he can step into this game. I know it's away from home, it's not at home, so different. And we know that Galatasaray away, he did have his struggles, but maybe that experience against Galatasaray has really helped build him a bit and build his character a bit and develop him. And I think since that game, I think he's been a lot better, to be honest. So I think Bergvall should come in, and also he has that. Yes, I know he could have had 2 bookings against Liverpool, but if he can learn from that experience, he has that bite in the challenge that we need, and that he's got unbelievable running power. But he also has a little bit of quality that just Sarr seems to be missing sometimes in that final third and on the ball, and he just seems to glide past players and have an eye for a pass, which Sarr, as much as I do think he's a good technical player, Bergvall just might be on another level on that.
All right, so we're going for Bergvall and Bissouma as part of the midfield trio. And you're looking at those two. I mean, both of them are probably, if you're a betting man, you'd say both of those get a booking tomorrow night.
Probably. I wouldn't
We
be
just got
surprised.
to make sure that we keep both of them on the pitch come the 90th minute. And yeah, the last player in the midfield, we really go for James Maddison.
Yeah, we're going to go for Madders. I guess the only decision is it Madders coming in, or is it Decky and then Johnson on the right? Or is it even Sarr in the midfield 3 and Decky on the right? So there's a few options actually in his disposal now, what he could do. But I think Maddison obviously was brilliant at the Emirates last year. He's a big game player. I think obviously he was one of our better players against Tamworth, but it's not saying much. Was suspended against Liverpool, so didn't play in that game. I thought was actually pretty good when he came on against Newcastle as well. So I think Maddison does come in this game, and I think he'll be well up for it. And yeah, excited to see him play.
Yeah. And then on the right-hand side of the attack, we are going to go for Dejan Kulusevski. Came on, completely changed the game against Tamworth, as he's been doing pretty much all season. Been our best player, and he's going to be chomping at the bit to destroy those Gooners.
Definitely, and I think as well, if it's going to be Lewis Skelly on that left-hand side, I think he's got to look at that and think I could have the beating of him. Because I feel like even if it was Johnson there, I feel like Johnson, I don't know if he has the confidence to even take him on. He's not even taking on Tamworth players at the moment. So I think Kulusevski, if he's on that side, he faces up to Lewis Skelly. I really have confidence he can have the beating of him and he can actually create chances from those moments. So I think, Decky comes in on the right-hand side and that's how we move forward.
Yeah, and I think not just having the beating of him, but like physically as well.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like he really, we need a bit of physicality on that side so we can really dominate that side of the pitch. And I think when you're looking at Kulusevski and potentially a Bergvall to back him up on that side of the pitch against Lewis Skelly, and Lewis Skelly as well, as much as he's been brilliant since he's come into the Arsenal side, no doubt about it, he's been very good, impressive. I think you can draw a few fouls out of him, and you can get him on a booking early, and then you can really potentially get the upper hand. Let's move on to the other two players, and I think these two go pretty much without saying. Up front is Big Dom Solanke. We'll go both Solanke up front and Sonny on the left.
Yeah, so there's Son, obviously. He's definitely... where's Solanke? There you go. And Solanke up front. No surprises. Obviously, Solanke's actually in a bit of a rich vein of form. He's been scoring quite regularly recently. So, obviously, he's up against Saliba and Gabriel, two of the most physical centre-backs there currently is in the league. He's going to have to just be a pest and be a handful for them throughout the 90 minutes. And again, you remember back in the game at the Tottenham Stadium, that was only Solanke's second game, I think, for Tottenham. He was just coming back from injury. So it wasn't the easiest day for him. But I do think he's in a confident mood at the moment, Solanke. So won't be surprised if he really puts in a battling performance. And obviously Sonny on the left, probably up against Timber, you'd have to say. Sonny not in the best of form, to be honest. So going to need a big performance. He does like it at the Emirates. He scored a few goals there. So hopefully this could be a real turning point for him when it comes to his form. But definitely need a better performance from him than he's performed in the last few games. Yeah,
I'm looking at the matchup, which is probably going to be Son against Jury and Timber out on that side. I think that's going to be an incredibly difficult matchup for Sonny. I think he's finding it difficult to challenge his players one-on-one, and Timber's a very aggressive player, a very good player, but he does like to get himself up the pitch, doesn't he? So maybe there'll be a few gaps for him there.
Yeah, definitely.
So that is the lineup that we're going to be looking for. Kinski in goal, Porro, Dragoshin, Gray and Spence in the back line. Bissouma, Bergvall and Maddison in the middle three. Decky on the right, Sonny on the left and Big Dom Solanke up top. That is our predicted lineup to take on Arsenal tomorrow night at the Emirates Stadium. If you agree, or if you disagree, I should say, let us know in the comment section below. What lineup would you go for if you were Ange Postecoglou tomorrow night